Hello and welcome to the third video in goal setting. Today we're going to be talking about tracking our golf. Now I'm sure you all know how important it is to measure our goals, because at that point we know where we've come from and where we've got to. We will probably know how far we've come by our scores becoming lower, but it's much better to put it down on paper and track where you are. And then you can look back in years to come or months and see where you were and where you are now, and you feel a great sense of achievement. So when I was on tour, I had journals and I would write down everything about my golf. I would write down how I felt on the golf course, whether it be good or bad. If I had a good round of golf, I would write down what it was specifically that I felt helped my game that day. If I had a bad round, I'd also write down how I felt. Maybe there was something before I went out. Maybe I was a bit rushed before I went out to play. So by writing it all down and tracking it, it really helps you identify areas where you actually could improve, and also the areas where you did do it well, that you can look at that and think, yeah, I'm going to do that next time. So I'll just briefly go through a few of the things that I would track in my golf. So one of the things would obviously be my rounds of golf. So I play 18 holes or 9 holes, whichever, I would still track. And I would start off by saying if I hit the fairway or not. So I would write 1 to 18 in my journal. So I've got it here. This is my round tracker. And I would say, did I hit the fairway? And I'd put a tick if I did and a cross if I didn't. Then I would say, did I hit the green in regulation? Now, regulation greens are going to be different for everyone, but for my standard, I would, on a par 4, I would hit the green in 2 shots. But if you're a higher handicap, you might hit it in 3 or 4 shots. But I would track at if I hit that green in regulation, and I would tick if I did. So there are 18 greens that we would hit, and at the end of the day, I would see how many greens I hit in regulation. Then I would look at whether I got, so if I missed a green, if I got up and down. So if I hit it into a bunker, or for my second shot, and I hit it out of the bunker onto the green, and did I hold the putt to make my par? Now, if I did, I'd put a tick, and if I didn't, I would put a cross. So at the end of it, I would have a tally of the drives I hit. So there's normally about 14 drives that you would hit, 14 fairways that you would hit. So it would be out of 14. So one day I might have hit 10 out of 14 fairways and 16 out of 18 greens. Then I look at how many putts I played. So that would be if the ball was on the putting green. So I would count up at the end of it how many putts I would have. Now, an average tour player would average around 30 putts per round. A higher handicap, or someone who hasn't played much golf, is going to be a lot higher than that. So for me personally, I would want to average around 31 to 32 putts around. And then I would then put my score down. So I will have a whole blueprint here of how many shots I hit and where I hit it onto the golf course. So that's with the round tracker. I then would go into my practice as well. So I would always write down how much I practiced, what I practiced. I'd always have a goal before I went to practice. So I would write down what I wanted to work on, what my goal for the game, for the practice session was. And then when I finished practicing, I would write down what I worked on as well and how it went. And then also with my lessons, I would do the same thing. So if I went for a golf lesson, I would track that. I would write down what my coach told me. And then at least I've got it down so I don't have to remember it. And I can look back. And then you look back over the years or the months and you can really see where you've come from. And that's the wonderful part about tracking your golf. And if you start it now, if you're a beginner, it's an absolutely brilliant way to get started. And then once you've done this winter series, this is a really good way to see where you are now, and then once the winter's over, then you can see where you are then. And I think that's it really. We've covered quite a lot over these 3 sessions. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. I would love to help. If there's any drills you want to learn about, I've got some great ones up my sleeve that I will probably share over the next couple of months. And I think that's it really. I hope you enjoyed this few days of goal setting, and I'd love to hear from you. So keep in touch, and thank you very much.